Hi, I'm Lachlan Maddock. Welcome to the Inside Network. Joining us today to discuss investing in mid-market domestic private equity is Nick Miller, partner at Fortitude Investment Partners. Nick, thanks for coming in.
Great to be here, Lockie.
Private equity, when we talk about it, can conjure these images of lots of leverage, large enterprises, and lofty valuations, but that's not the market you play in. Could you tell us a little bit about the market you do play in?
Yeah, sure. So for Fortitude Investment Partners, our reason for being is to provide outsized returns to our investors over the long run. And we do that through investing in, behind, and helping to build great businesses. We exist within what's called the lower mid-market within private equity. And what that typically is sub $200 million in enterprise value. So not the ASX 200 or ASX 100 companies that would be household names, but there's 300,000 companies that exist in Australia that are over 5 employees. 295,000 of those are 5 to 200 employees, which is our sweet spot. So we think that there's 295,000 companies out there, and they're often overlooked by investment managers, which is where we come in. We help to, identify thematics, identify businesses, and look for those hidden gems within those 295,000 companies.
So when you say hidden gems, what are you looking for in a potential investee company?
Fundamentally, there's 3 key ingredients that we're looking for. A good business in a good market with good people that can execute on a growth plan. And taking those each in turn, a good market is one that has strong growth and tailwinds coming in behind it. And there's a couple of key thematics that we really like within Fortitude. The energy transition is one, food manufacturing is another, digitization of the economy and healthcare are all thematics that we have sector team expertise within Fortitude, but we also have a wide variety of operating partners. And then a good business is typically one that you can see stronger margins or stronger growth rates than the competition, and good people are people that you want to partner with, people who have been able to execute on delivering strong growth in the past, but also someone that can assist you in building the business and help exit as a much larger business over that 3 to 5 year time horizon.
So I really like that sort of almost like colloquial framework you came up with, good business in a good market with good people. Is that something that really Fortitude spends a lot of time thinking about? Is that something that they developed? Is it something you use when you're assessing an opportunity?
I don't think it's something that's unique to us. I think all investors are looking for those types of assets, but we just are very laser focused in identifying, any opportunity that crosses our desk, is it a good business in a good market with good people? And therefore, is it something that we're willing to spend time and money on to really get behind and invest in behind?
Could you give me a case study of a successful investment starting from due diligence going all the way through the exit?
Yeah, sure. So one of our recent exits has been in Chopper Media. So that was an investment that we made in digital out-of-home. 2 founders, so good people that had a background in out-of-home. So backing them to go into a niche in the area, which is digital out-of-home advertising, particularly within shopping centres. We took it from a less than 1% market share to a greater than 20% market share. And that's through a combination of investment in behind them and building out the digital screens, an investment in the technology that sits in behind that, particularly the data analytics that shopping centres use to run their business, but also advertisers use to understand the number of eyeballs that they were getting, and then building out a really strong management team alongside the 2 co-founders. And then taking it to exit. We had a number of approaches because it was a strong business in a good market, and we identified the natural couple of buyers, readied it for sale, and then took it through an exit process and got a really strong outcome for investors.
And how did that opportunity find its way to you in the first place?
So it was actually through an advisor, but it was a proprietary deal to us. So through the advisory network, but because of the specific circumstances of the investment where they needed a capital provider such as ourselves that could help build the business as well, they identified us as a partner, and we basically just had a bipartisan discussion around what that investment would look like.
Is that how most of those opportunities find its way to you, through an advisor network?
It's a combination of advisory and proprietary. So over our life, we've seen about 15,000 businesses. Of those, 2,500 have come as opportunities looking for capital. And we've made 20 investments to give you a flavour for how many businesses we look at to how many we invest in. Of those 2,500 opportunities, about 60% come through our proprietary network. So that's either our own networks in terms of people coming to us with those investments or us reaching out directly to them because we feel like they're a good business that sits in a good market. The other 40% comes through the advisory network, and that can be everything from the large Big Four accountancy firms, investment banks through to the next tier down of advisors.
What sort of sector expertise sits within Fortitude itself?
Sure. So we've got strong expertise across each of the industries that we've invested in behind. So that's energy transition, digitization of the economy, healthcare, and then also food. But alongside that, we've got 130 operating partners that assist us in firstly identifying new opportunities, secondly through the due diligence process, and thirdly on execution. Quite often, when we find a good operating partner who is an expert in their field, whether that's because of a certain industry, we can use them to help us get ahead of the curve when it comes to DD, but also as a director on those businesses to help assist in the execution of our investment thesis.
How does the local mid-market compare to the global opportunity set? Are there any strengths that domestic businesses have that their global peers don't necessarily?
Yeah, I think there's a significant number of strengths within local market, and particularly small to medium-sized enterprises that are often overlooked by investors. And the key thing there, I think, is that within the niches that these businesses serve, they're often the number one or two providers, and they're on the ground and they have multiple different ways to scale. So typically an investment that comes to us, which is a $5 million EBITDA type of business, it's done a lot of the hard yards to get from a startup to $5 million of earnings, and it's typically growing faster than the market or has stronger margins than the market. And our goal is to take that from 5 to 15 or beyond. And I feel that it's easier to take a business from 5 to 15. There's multiple growth avenues that exist typically within those businesses than to take something from 15 to 30, for example. And ultimately for our investors as well, there's a fair degree of potential multiple arbitrage that comes into play as well. Because of the huge number of potential opportunities and the small number of managers going after them, we can normally secure these assets at reasonable prices. Our average entry multiple is about 6.4 times EBITDA, which is about a 40 to 50% discount to benchmarks in terms of private equity and listed markets as well. We're typically then able to exit them at a higher multiple because they're a larger business, but also being bought by the larger strategics and larger private equity firms that play in those kind of larger multiples. So not only do you get the benefit of the earnings growth that you can generate within those businesses, you also get the benefit of the multiple arbitrage that you get from them as well.
So what sort of opportunities are you looking for in the market today?
There's certain thematics that we really like, and we spend a lot of time with our sector teams. We've got sector-focused teams within Fortitude trying to unearth and identify these hidden gems. One is energy transition. The other is digitization of the economy, healthcare, and food manufacturing. And each of those key four thematics, we have expertise in terms of scaling those businesses, a good understanding of the markets, but also a strong operating partner network that can assist us to identify due diligence and then execute on that growth thesis.
Nick, thanks for coming in today. You've been great.
Thanks, Lachie. Appreciate it.